This edition of the Tech Savvy Interpreter is brought to you by Cadence. Cadence streams real-time interpretation into business meetings and live events. Are you an interpreter who has been asked to perform simultaneous interpretation during a conference call? From now until May 1st, listeners of the Tech Savvy Interpreter can use the Cadence platform for free. Go to cadencetranslate.com to learn more and get started helping your team to talk business anywhere. Hello, Barry Slaughter-Olson here with the March 2017 edition of the Tech Savvy Interpreter. Thank you to everyone who watched the January edition where we tested the remote simultaneous interpretation platform called Headvox. The number of views of that video far surpassed my expectations. So thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so you'll know when new videos like this one are posted. For this month's installment of the Tech Savvy Interpreter, we're going to take a look at an ambitious, cloud-based, over-the-phone and video remote interpreting platform called Boostlingo. It's a next-generation interpreting platform that is looking to take on the leaders in the OPI and VRI space. For years, the big over-the-phone interpreting companies have dominated for three main reasons. First, they had the funds to invest in the costly telecommunications infrastructure needed to provide an on-demand interpreting service, like dedicated fiber optic voice and data connections, interactive voice response, and automatic call distribution software, to name just a few. Second, they had the administrative wherewithal to keep track and bill for thousands and thousands of short interactions that were interpreted on their platforms every day. And third, they developed vast networks of over-the-phone interpreters working in call centers and from home offices to provide the service, and they worked just for them. This kept many smaller agencies and a lot of interpreters out of this market segment. Boostlingo hopes to change that. Boostlingo is a 100% cloud-based platform that runs on PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. It can interact with traditional phone systems, cell phones, or through apps installed on smartphones or tablets. It can handle both audio and video calls. It is platform agnostic, and from a technological standpoint, what they have built is impressive. In theory, this means that interpreters can take OPI or VRI assignments using a smartphone, tablet, laptop, or desktop computer. In practice, it will be important to see how these assignments are carried out and what works well and what doesn't. Cloud technology makes it technically possible to interpret while sipping Mai Tais on the beach, but that doesn't mean that that is advisable or could ever be considered a best practice. The same goes for coffee shops, noisy airports, and the like. Interpreters will still need a quiet place to work without interruptions. So if you're serious about working as a remote interpreter, you'll need to have a good office. So in this video, I will show you, one, how a client initiates a call on the Boostlingo platform, then how an interpreter connects to an audio call using a smartphone, and finally, I'll show you the interpreter dashboard on Boostlingo and how you can take video calls from a PC or a Mac. So let's take a look. Okay, first thing I'd like to show you in this video is how a client connects to an interpreted call using Boostlingo. So I've preloaded the Boostlingo client app on this iPad, and so all I have to do is open the app. When I do open the app, you'll notice that I have included Spanish and English as the languages for this call. If you needed to change the language and you needed something else, it's just a question of touching the language and then selecting from the list of languages that is offered by the agency. So for the purposes of this demo, I only have one language pair available. That's English and Spanish. One interpreter available. As you can see, that the system has matched up and says is available at the moment. You'll also notice in the upper part of the screen where it says business, that there's a drop-down menu there that allows you to select different kinds of interpreted events. So right now they have them divided up into personal, government, federal, business, legal, and medical. That can expand over time. But what this does, we'll keep it at business, is it provides another parameter in order to find the appropriate interpreter for a given call, or the most appropriate interpreter, beyond simply language pair. You can start to look at trainings, you can look at certifications, etc. So an interesting feature that has been included there. Farther down you'll see two buttons, one to indicate whether it's going to be an audio call, the other a video call. We're going to do an audio call for this example. So at this stage the only thing that I have to do is click on call, and then the system begins to search for an interpreter, and then a call begins to come in on the interpreter's iPhone, which is what's being used this time. The interpreter clicks on the button to accept the call, and the connection is completed. And I'm going to mute the two connections just because I have both endpoints in the same room and want to avoid feedback. But as you look on the screen, you'll notice that there is information that is provided to both the client and the interpreter. The interpreter has a similar screen, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But here I can see whom I'm interpreting for, the name of the client, a picture that they upload, and then the picture of the interpreter and the interpreter's number. At this point, of course, the interpreter would begin the introductory protocol and then move on to do the interpretation for the client. Once that's concluded, the client clicks on End Call, confirms that they want to end the call, and then the 360 rating experience appears. And so you have two parameters. How was the experience of the interpretation? How was the quality of that? How did you feel about it? 5 stars, nice work, JeromeBot. And then call quality that focuses more on the technical issues. Was the sound bad? Was it breaking up? Or things of that nature. It's important to note here that this was a voice over IP call. It wasn't using traditional telephone lines. So Boostlingo is capable of doing both, but for this example, we are using voice over IP. We'll say the call quality was excellent. We'll click rate, and with that, that is the whole experience from start to finish for someone who needs to have access to an interpreter for whatever reason, medical, business, legal, you name it. Let's take a quick look now at the experience the interpreter has when working on Boostlingo using the app on a smartphone. I have an iPhone screen that you can see. The Boostlingo interpreter app has been preloaded, and the interpreter has indicated that he's available for interpreting and taking calls. So let's see how a call comes in. We see there's a message saying an incoming call, Spanish-English for business. The interpreter then needs to answer the call, and the connection is made. Once the connection is made, then the interpreter will do the initial protocols, introductions, and then proceed to do the interpretation. Once the interpreting has concluded, either the client or the interpreter can end the call. And then the rating. And with that, that's all it takes. One last interface that I would like to show you is the web interface that you can use either on a PC or Mac using a browser. So I have logged in to JeromeBot's profile on Boostlingo, and as you can see, I have a number of different options and types of information available to me. I can look at my appointment calendar. I can also adjust my account, change my picture, include new contact info, what you would expect there. And then I have access to this dashboard that you can see. It gives me where my current star rating is as an interpreter at 4.9%. Call quality at 4.9, my overall rating 5.0. Then I have a list of all of the calls, whether video or audio, that I have interpreted on, so that I can keep track of those and know what I need to be paid for. And I can also see if there are any appointments that have been assigned to me and that I've accepted for interpreting in the future. I have opened the app that allows me to receive audio and video calls while I am on my computer, and I'm working from an office, and so I'm in a good condition to be able to work. So let's say I'm going to receive a video call. So the client would place the call, and since I'm in the queue and Boostlingo knows I'm available, I may receive a video call from a client. The call comes in. I see it's Mr. Bear calling again. I'm ready to accept it. And so I click to answer, and the video call connects. Mr. Bear is there, and so I can now interpret for the client. Once the call has concluded, again, what I do is I click on End Call, or the client can click on End Call, and the same 360 rating, 5 stars, appears. And call quality good, rating was good, rate. And that's how I can receive video calls on my desktop or laptop computer. I will point out that video calls can be received on a smartphone or a tablet device as well, but it's important to keep in mind that you need to be in a place that's appropriate for these kinds of calls. And certain clients will have requirements of how your workstation be set up to ensure privacy and compliance with applicable laws and regulations. So there you have it. Boostlingo from an interpreter's perspective for over-the-phone interpreting and video remote interpreting. I hope you have found this video interesting and informative. So that's all for now. I'm Barry Slaughter Olson, the Tech Savvy Interpreter, and I look forward to sharing more videos with you in the future about technology that is affecting interpreting. Until next time.